Hello, my name is John Ryder. I'm the General Manager of Sage 100 Enhancements for DSD Business Systems. In this video, we will be showing you a product that has been recently released by DSD Business Systems. This enhancement is the LMRS Rebuild Sort Utility. This product incorporates the sort rebuild functionality that's already in Sage 100, but it pulls all of the rebuilds into one common utility. The standard Sage sort rebuild has some issues where you cannot run it into a task scheduler. So it cannot be scheduled. It has to be run from a menu. And you have to run it when all users are basically out of the system. So if any users are accessing menu items in Sage 100, such as maintenance programs or data entry, those files are basically in use. And the Sage sort rebuild needs to lock those files that are in use in order to do a sort rebuild. So if any users have left for the day and left their Sage 100 open at a data entry or maintenance, then the sort rebuild, even if it were to be scheduled, it could not run because those files are locked. Finally, the standard Sage sort rebuild doesn't really present you with any detailed information on what was fixed. With the LMRS rebuild sort enhancement, we've pulled all of those sort rebuild functionality from all the modules into one common utility. You can set up by company the specific tasks that you want to run in each sort rebuild utility, and then you can add that to a task scheduler so it can be run at night. The biggest feature is that the utility does not do file locking. Instead, it will open the file, it will look for the records that need to be rebuilt, and if it finds a record that needs to be changed, then it'll do a record extraction. If the record is in use or extracted elsewhere, and it could therefore not make the change to correct the record, then a log file will display that record that could not be rebuilt. Finally, the utility allows you to enter an email address that can be emailed if the sort rebuild is run and there are any issues running that utility, including locked records. So right now I'm going to go ahead and give you a demo of that newest enhancement. In Library Master, on the Utilities menu, we have two new menu options. The first menu option is the setup of the sort rebuild by company. And then the second menu option at the bottom is a utility that allows you to actually run that sort rebuild. Again, you can also add this sort rebuild to the task scheduler in Library Master. So we're going to go ahead and select the setup maintenance and take a look at what you can set up. You can set it up by company, and then each module has its own sort rebuild with specific tasks that it can do. Again, these were pulled from the standard Sage sort rebuilds and put into one utility. And you can choose which ones you want to rebuild. So under accounts payable, we have the recalc vendor balances. So that updates the vendor master file. And we also have remove null vendors. Again, that also updates the vendor master file. In accounts receivable, we have the rebuild of alternate invoice sort. We have a recalculate of customer aging. And a common one is the ability to recalc open order amounts by customer in the customer master file. In bank rec, we have recalculate bank totals. In general ledger, we have rebuild account history and rebuild account segments. In inventory, we have a recalc of the item cost, which is the lot, serial, FIFO, LIFO tiers, where you can rebuild the status fields. You can also recalculate item totals. So that's the total inventory value for an item. And then a common one is to rebuild the lot serial quantity committed from the data entry records. In purchase order, we have some sort files that you can rebuild. And a common one is to rebuild the open order quantity as an inventory based what you have on purchase orders. In RMA, we have the rebuild, delete, renumber, merge, cross-reference. And finally, in sales order, you can rebuild the sort tables. And a common one is to rebuild the open order amounts in inventory from the sales orders. At the bottom here, you can put in an email address that the utility will use if it finds any problems when running that sort rebuild. So that way your administrator can receive an email that there were issues with that sort rebuild. And again, you can set this up by company, and then you can add it to a task scheduler, which I'm going to show you now. So under Library Master main menu, there is the task scheduler. I've defined a new job that is going to run this DSD rebuild. You can set it up by company. You can have your username, password, and you can have the start date and end date and the time of day that you would like to run this task. The important thing is on the tasks menu, you will select the module and the rebuild sort data task. And there are some runtime arguments that you can define. So if you leave this blank, it'll run that sort rebuild for all companies, or you can do a comma delimited list of the companies that you want to run. One last thing is that the type on the right side of the schedule panel it needs to be set to other, right? So you can access additional fields. And you can run this task from the Run Now button if you choose. So I'm going to go ahead and run the utility. But before I do, I want to show you what happens if a record is extracted and the sort rebuild cannot update that record. So I have Providex prompt open where I've opened up the customer master file, and I know that customer number 01ABF needs to be rebuilt for the open order amount, but I'm going to go ahead and extract that record. So now that record is locked down, and then when I run the sort rebuild, it will tell you that it is in use. So I'm going to run the menu item. That's the DSD rebuild sort data. I'm going to go ahead and put my company code in, and I'm going to select proceed. So normally it would tell you that the process is complete if it was able to get through the rebuild without any problems. But in this case, it did find a problem where, again, that record was locked down. Here you can show the log file. So let's take a look at that log file. At the header of the log file, it shows you when the utility was run, the time of day, and the company and user. It shows you a minute by minute display of what was occurring. It shows you which rebuild was running. It'll show you what records were processed and which ones were updated and which ones had errors, right? Now you'll see down here, there is a error that occurred that shows unable to access the customer record 01ABF. And that's a Providex error, which is an error 0. So again, this is an example where there was an error running this utility, and it will show it in the log file. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove the extraction of that record. I'm just going to click End, so that will close out that file and remove that record extract. Now I'm going to run the rebuild again. I'm going to select ABC and select Proceed. So now the rebuild did not find any issues, and it'll display a process complete. All right, so now we can go look at the activity log, which is under reports, and we can take a look at the log file. So I'm going to select the record that was created in the activity log. And then on the bottom, you can see there's a log file that's stored, and I can choose that log file. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look at the record that was updated, right? So here you can see that customer ABF, the open order amount was fixed. So it was originally set to 8,000 and now it's set it to the proper amount. And you can see that the records were processed and one of those was updated. So these log files are stored in the activity log so you can access them later on. All right, as mentioned, you can define by company, by each module, which tasks that you want to do. We will be adding over time some more rebuild options that are specific to other developer products, including DSD Enhancement. So we're going to be adding multi-currency. We're going to be adding our DSD Service Center. And we have had some requests to add possibly operations management rebuilds on this list as well. Thank you for joining. This concludes the demo of the LMRS sort rebuild.